Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be working with an orchid that has no roots, and I am going to show you how to put it in an environment where it's conducive to growing roots. It's never a 100% guarantee, but I think with the tips I'm about to show you, we have a really good shot of getting this guy to regrow. So if it's your first time here, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the little bell for all notifications so you don't miss anything. And now let's get started saving this orchid here with no roots. If you've seen my last videos, you know this is part of a care series where I have intentionally cut this orchid off in order to propagate it. But if you had, this is going to work for a lot of orchids, for most orchids, if it doesn't have any roots for whatever reason. If you have to cut it in any way to trim off dead or rot, I like to use a little bit of cinnamon here, just a pinch. And I put it right on the fresh cut. Cinnamon is an antibacterial, antifungus, and it will help keep everything at bay. So now with that done, I would wait a good 6 hours or so before I actually do this. But for the sake of the video, we are going to continue with this right now. And so things we're going to need, other than the cinnamon there, some sort of pot. Something in the bottom of the pot. I'm using river rock, nice and smooth, inert. If you do need to make any cuts, you need to use some isopropyl alcohol to sterilize your tools. Of course, some scissors if you're still making the cuts, and a bag to put this in. So I'm going to bring you down and let's get started prepping this orchid for its new home for the next little while. Okay, so now what we're trying to do here is not so much make it, we're not planting it right now. We are trying to put it in an environment that is 100% humid so that it will form new roots, not desiccate out at the same time. And once the roots are starting to form, then they're going to actually search out and grow bigger faster because they're looking for somewhere to grow into. So I found this little pot here, and it is going to sit in this little pot here. Kind of like so. I'm going to put the rocks in the bottom. Because we're going to have this in a bag and there's going to be moisture in the bag, I don't want the moisture to condensate and run down and then have this orchid sitting in the moisture in any way whatsoever. So we're going to just tuck it down like that. So now it is in the pot, just like so. If we want, we can even give it a little clip here. So it's not going to go anywhere. Where's a good spot to clip this? Just like so. I can find another clip for what I was going to do with the clip later. So from there, we want to prepare our bag. So I have some fresh, brand new sphagnum moss that I have just recently moistened. It's still a little bit dry, so I will be adding some more water to it. But let's set this guy aside for now. Nice sized bag with plenty of room. Let's start by putting the orchid in it and make sure it fits. This is going to be its new home for a little while. We do want to keep the orchid in there as still as possible if we can. So you might need to just fit it in there fairly snug. There we go. Now we are not going to be potting this orchid up. I don't want the plant to be touching media at this point. I want it to be in the air. That's the whole point of this. So we are going to be adding some sphagnum moss, but we're going to put it on the outside of the pot. We want those roots to go searching. Just like so. That should be plenty. As I say, it's a little bit dry still because I had just brought it out to the greenhouse and just gave it a bit of a spray. So I'm just going to do that to make sure it's nice and moist. And then we are going to pot or bag this guy up together. And again, the reason we're bagging it like this is we want it to be in an environment that's 100% humidity. We want the orchid to be in humidity but not wet. There we go. So I just made a clip on the top. The clip on the top makes it easy for me to check it often. And it's not sopping wet in there at all. Even though I sprayed it with the hose, there's no extra moisture, there's nothing, there's no puddles on the bottom. Now we are going to store this guy in a bright and warm place. So we'll clip that so it's completely closed. And it is probably going to take 6 to 8 weeks before we start to see roots on this guy. but roots will start to come out between the nodes. It's a good sized plant. I have no doubts that it's going to be very successful. Needs to grow roots completely back because of propagation or because of mismanagement and the roots are rotten and they had to go. Either way, there's many times when you're going to be starting with no roots, so this is a quick way to solve it. Hope you like this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye guys.